What is going on, everybody? Welcome to our new series, Freshman Fridays, where we are going to dive in and give you guys some freshman profiles for the upcoming 2022 class. We dropped a bunch of videos earlier this year, or I'm sorry, earlier last year. We're already into 2022, and that's still insane to me. Earlier last year, where we discussed getting to know the freshmen. That is where we put out just a quick 5-minute video showing you guys, hey, this is the freshman that this team signed, and so on and so forth. On these, we're going to go a little bit in depth, do a couple different things. A bunch of us are going to be doing these videos. Each of us are going to bring our own flavor to them. And for this one, I have the honor, as you guys saw, talking about Drew Allar, who I am excited about. He is my number one QB in this class. I think he is honestly an amazing player. And I can't wait to dive into him. He's an incredible quarterback. He's going to give Ohio State fits, really all the Big Ten. I say Ohio State because I'm an Ohio State fan. He's going to be a really good quarterback and straight from Ohio, and he's going to Penn State. So let's jump in to Drew Allar's profile. So here we go. We have got his 247 page up here, as you guys can see, and as you guys can see right here to the side of me, I've got his consensus rank for us, which is QB3. There's one guy on our freshman side of things that helps rank. We do a lot of discussions. We do full-on rankings discussions about how we should rank these guys and everything. He's just a little bit lower. There's a lot of things he doesn't like about Drew Allar. I think in all honesty, it's one of the great things about our site. We bring a ton of different looks at these freshmen. Not everybody has the same opinion. And so it has dropped him a little bit in our consensus. Now, he is my QB1. I am still very high on him. I think he's the best just with everything he can do. And we will definitely get into that here in just a minute because this kid's special, but I want to talk a little bit about, obviously, what we can find here. And anybody can find this. You go to 247sports.com. One of the best. I think they're the best recruiting website when it comes to, like, these players in high school and what they're doing. We have been able to talk with some of the guys over there and work with them. Incredible group. So if you're ever wanting to look at one of those, and I don't want to disparage any of the others, but I love them. On3 is another one who is really good. They're really coming up in this space, I think, as well, who could really be a solid site here. But I'm using 247 Sports one, so and that's what we're going to kind of look at as we go through here. So you can see 6'4", 232 right now, which is great. That is the perfect build. That's perfect for a quarterback going into college, and in all honesty, even in the NFL. You know, you could add maybe a little bit more weight, but you don't want him to be too big. And when you look at him here in a minute, he doesn't look that size either. It looks almost like a very slenderish frame, which I kind of like. So on here in the composite, as you can see, he is QB4 in the composite. He's QB1 and the third national ranked player for 247 Sports. And I'm talking about it because I want to show you guys something. We're going to dive into his history really quick because I think this is very, very intriguing. You go all the way down here to the bottom, and 247 Sports tracks this again, which I think is also very cool. You go all the way down here to just August 31st of 2020. He was the 517th ranked player. And I'll tell you why. He really didn't come onto the scene until his sophomore year when he became a quarterback. He was actually playing linebacker and running back when he was younger. So he has got athleticism out the yin-yang, and we're going to show you that as well because I think that shows on some of his huddle tape. And then as you can see, he just slowly progressed, and then as of 8/18 last year, so August, so you're talking about a full year later, he had already jumped up to 92 in the composite. He was a top 100 player, and then at the end of the day, he settled in at 27 before then I believe he settled in, as I mentioned just a minute ago, the number 3 nationally ranked player. So his rise to ascension has been very interesting here. And he had a ton of offers as well. I mean, and Penn State is interesting, and we'll talk about that in a minute because I do love something that happened with him with Penn State. But I mean, look at this. He had Bowling Green, Central Michigan, some of the big ones. Let's just talk the big ones, right? Iowa State, which I think, Matt Campbell, say what you want, hasn't always recruited the highest end guys, but he's developed that talent. Michigan, Notre Dame, Ohio State. Remember Ohio State for a minute. We'll get there in a minute. Ole Miss, Pitt had a really good year. Helped developing Kenny Pickett to likely a first round pick. Texas A&M, Washington, Michigan State. So he had a lot of really good offers. And I told you to remember the Ohio State part, and here's why. He is from Medina County. He right there, right in Ohio State's backyard. I mean, I don't know off the top of my head. It's been a long time since I've been back home. I'm going to say it's at least an hour drive, I think, from Medina to Columbus. Could be wrong, but it's not literally like right in, the shoe's backyard, but he's there. He's in the state, right? Home state recruit, and back in the day, that was something Jim Tressel always did. He wanted to get those home state guys, and he pushed for that. Drew Allar grew up in an Ohio State Buckeye household, Cleveland Brown household. A lot of us, not everybody who's a Buckeye fan is a Cleveland Browns fan. I know a lot of Ohio State fans who are actually Steelers fans, which I don't understand. That part is what it is. We'll save that for another discussion. But he grew up a Buckeye fan. When there were a lot of rumors, and if you're over at our site, I promise you jump in our Discord, because we were talking about this 2 months before anything came out and nothing happened, because I'm lucky enough to talk to some people who are at Ohio State. There was a lot of talk that Quinn Ewers was not happy and that he might be leaving in the transfer portal. And I brought that up. And why I also brought that up is there were rumors, it was never official, but from people I talked to, and I do trust them, Drew Allar was then kind of contacted again by Ohio State. They went back after him. And I can't imagine that was an easy discussion for him to be like, no, you know what, I don't want to go to Ohio State, because we all knew Quinn was leaving at that point. So Drew Allar would be who Devin Brown is for the Buckeyes. Now, Devin Brown's coming in, and there's a lot of talk, well, hey, he might be the next guy to step up. They got McCord there. What happens? But Devin Brown, very good. That'd be the discussion we're having with Drew Allar, but he said no. He said, I'm sticking with James Franklin. I'm sticking with Mike Yurcich. And that kind of loyalty, I think, matters. That is huge. He decided to stick with Penn State, even though growing up his entire life, he was a Buckeyes fan. That's huge. That's really big. So I really like that about them. I love the loyalty. I love that he stayed. He said he wants to play in Mike Yurcich's offense, and I don't disagree with him. It's good. I mean, there's times last year he made Sean Clifford look very good, and I don't mean to say this is a bad thing, but I think it's fair to say Drew Allar has a ton more talent than Sean Clifford does. So with that being said, let's jump into his kind of profile here and get this ready. So before we jump into his huddle film, I want to give you guys my pros on here. Here is his skill set. Just really quick, easily narrowed down. You can see me down here in the bottom corners. Once we pull the huddle film up, I want to be out of the way so that we can discuss some things. So I think he's got a smooth and easy release. I think he can hit all three levels of the field. Touch passes, his ability to throw from multiple angles, and obviously he extends plays as well, right? He's very good at that. I do think he's already entering, as I just mentioned, at a good height-weight ratio, and he has the perfect build when you're looking and projecting toward the NFL. While he's used his legs in this season, in the senior season, he had, I believe it was like 600 rushing yards or something like that. I don't know that he'll be able to do that at the college level. I don't know that he's quite that athletic. 24/7 Sports has him comped to Josh Allen, which I understand the comp. For me, though, I think he uses his rushing more as a strategic thing, like Justin Herbert does. Like Justin Herbert, he runs when he needs to, but it's not like Josh Allen. Josh Allen will take off and eat up yards, and Aller can do that. We'll see that on his huddle, but I think he uses it more as a strategic thing, like Justin Herbert. Again, as a quarterback, Aller has everything you want in the new age quarterback. Smooth, easy release. He can hit all three levels of the field with just the flick of his wrist. He's very impressive with his touch passes into the intermediate parts of the field. When he needs to place the ball over a linebacker and into the stride of his wide receiver, it looks just effortless when he does it. It's very impressive. He's also very impressive throwing the deep ball and placing it in the best position for his receiver. He is good at passing from the pocket, and his ability to avoid rushers and buy time is what makes him more exciting. Aller throws well on the run, typically not losing much of his velocity or accuracy. He is adept at throwing from multiple arm slots as well, and has this kind of innate ability to throw his wide receivers open, which I really like. And does a really good job of throwing with really good anticipation as well. So, let's do it. Jump into his huddle film really quick. And I mean, we are going to watch this. And while I'm watching this, I'm just going to let you guys know I'm going to pull up, um, and as you can see here, you can see my little dot running around all over the screen. I'm just gonna highlight some things that I'm watching when I do it, and then we can kind of go from there. We're not gonna watch the whole Huddle film. It's like 6 minutes long. You can go to Huddle and watch it. I just kind of want to touch on some of the things here that I really like about him when I was watching his stuff. And I did do his highlights. We do go back and watch full games when we can. There's not those are not always available to everybody. So really quick, just 1 point, 415 rushing yards. So I apologize about that. I said 600, but 4,443 passing yards, 60% completion, 48 passing touchdowns. So the completion percentage there is something I'm a little worried about. I don't love that, right? Um, especially at the college or especially at the high school level. But we've seen that it hasn't necessarily mattered for some of these other guys, especially a guy like Josh Allen that he was comped to. Those guys have been able to improve on that. So I do think doesn't mean it's the end of the world for him. I do think he can improve on that. So right here, I want you guys to watch something right off the bat. We're going to start with something here, right? So you see him. Let me just fix something on my screen here. Okay, so you see him right here. He is going to make a move this way as you watch it, and then when he gets over here, he fires a pass down here in the field, and it's off balance, and it's I mean, if I'm being honest, it's kind of incredible. So I just want you guys to watch that part of it here as we go through. And I mean, it's off balance. Look at that. Off balance, going the other way, and watch how he just places it right into his wide receiver. That right there. Austin Nace, one of the other co-founders of the website, and again, he's a galaxy brain. He is much smarter than I am. When we talked about this and he brought this up, and I didn't really think about it this way, but I agree with him. He is the most creative passer in this class, and that's quoting Austin Nace there. So give him all the credit for that. I'm stealing that, Austin. I'm sorry, but he is 100% right when it comes to that. He's a very creative passer, and the things he's able to do here is really good. So on this one, and I want to kind of show you guys this right here with Allar because I think this is important. Watch him right here because I want you guys to watch as he gets ready to just kind of release this ball. He does this with so much anticipation, and I really like this throw. You'll watch. So right here, obviously, you've got the wide receiver. He's got the cornerback and the safety right there on him. Right, he's going, and we'll just kind of slowly move through this really quick. I want to pause it. So right there, the ball is gone, right? I meant to pause it before that, but whatever. The ball is gone. You can see Allar's throwing it. Here's the ball. There's his wide receiver. He is not open yet. Now, I talked a little bit with Jared Wackerly at JWack on Twitter. He does also a very good job with QB stuff. A former D1 quarterback. He knows a lot about quarterbacking, so I like to talk to him about different stuff. And he did bring up that this isn't necessarily I say this is like throwing with anticipation. Or I'm sorry, I felt like this is more throwing his wide receiver open. He says it's throwing with anticipation, which I get because as you see, he throws there. Wide receiver is now open. He hits him perfectly in stride for a big gain. I mean, it's still a great throw overall, right? Here, just a great deep pass. You'll see he hits his wide receiver. This throw right here, and I want to highlight too on his base here. So as you can see, I mean, just look at that. I do think he's got a very good base when he throws. Typically, he does a very good job of setting his feet and letting the ball go. And this is perfectly thrown, in my opinion, to his wide receiver, right? As you look at that, there's two defenders. He places it up. Maybe he could have brought it down a little bit so his wide receiver didn't have to jump that high to get the ball, but still, neither one of those defenders are getting it, and he throws it to a point where the wide receiver doesn't have to worry about getting killed by that safety that's coming over, right? Because then it's in the end zone. Boom, touchdown. So really good. Here is another one. I really, really like this throw, and I'm going to show you why. Watch right here. Don't worry about the wide receiver. Don't worry about anything else. I just want you guys to watch Drew Allar's arm, and I'm going to try and do this quickly. So again, right here, you see when you're watching this, here's his wide receiver. This is who he's going to. This wide receiver right here, right? The linebacker's looking. I'm almost positive, like right at him, right? Linebacker's looking. Okay, I see this guy coming across the middle. You got this guy kind of his other wide receiver over here, kind of slow playing this, right? He's going up. The cornerback is for the most part probably beat, right? Like in the NFL, some of these times these guys there, he might be able to undercut him and swat the ball away as he's going this way. But right now, the wide receiver has him beat. But what Aller is watching here, you can see Aller's looking right over here. Aller knows he's got to get it over here. And again, the linebacker's right here. So he's got to throw it either with some kind of arm angle or, as I mentioned earlier, kind of those touch passes to get it over the linebacker without getting it batted away. But again, I want you to watch right here what Aller does and how he throws the ball because this is what makes him exciting. And again, one of the more creative passers in this class. Did you see it? He sidearms the ball, guys. He sidearms it. Let's go back just a little bit here. Went a little bit too far back, and I'm going to pause it because I'm gonna let it go in full motion here in a minute. But watch his arm angle. He sidearms it to get it past the linebacker, and again, hits his wide receiver in stride while doing it. Like, that is the stuff that makes him so exciting. The fact that he does that, I think, is fun. Right there, I mean, you'd probably love for him to put more into that, but it's a beautiful touch pass to his wide receiver. Right here again, same thing. Like, he is a tremendous quarterback. You'll watch this. I mean, okay, I'm going to go back a little bit on this one as well. I'm sorry, guys. I've got to go back a little bit on here. Just really quick. We'll go right there. That should, nope, not far enough. Let's go. There we go. So I will pause that before that play gets going again really quick just because I want to show you guys something again. And then we'll probably get out of here because we've watched, a lot of his film here, and a lot of it just continues to be the same thing. So we see him here. It's the same thing again, right? He rushes off to this side, and then he's going off balance this way, right? Like he's going off balance that way, but is able to throw the ball back into the middle of the field. Guys, that is not easy for anybody to do. I hate saying this because when you say this, people think you're immediately comping him to that. But it's Patrick Mahomes type things that he does here when he's throwing the ball. I understand it's at the high school level, but watch this right here. Look, he's going the other way, and he's able to release it into the field. Like, sure, it could have been thrown a little bit better, but that's not an easy thing to do. So I think Drew Aller has it all. He really is just an amazing quarterback. Oh, I'm sorry, guys. I did not mean to do that. That's what you get when you doing this live, right? You mess up. I just love everything Aller does. We'll continue to let this roll for just one more minute, and then we're gonna get out of here. But he does everything. Like right there, nice little throw on the run. I was hoping to possibly get this is a great one as well. Again, buying time, right? Going around, looking, sidearm into the end zone, touchdown. Like just incredible. He does have some rushing plays on here as well. I was trying to give it a minute to see if we can get to one where he kind of takes off running and does something here, but I don't know that we're going to get it. So here's one. I mean, that's a pretty good run right there, right? A little bit of wiggle for him. Does get a pretty good job. There's one, I know it's almost coming up, so we'll just continue to run this here for a minute. But again, look at this. Look at that perfect throw on the run, avoiding the defenders again. I love this one too because he steps up in the pocket, then makes a miss, and still same thing, right? Like, okay, so we're going backwards a little bit on this one. I lied. We're not done. We're not done just yet, guys. Because again, Drew Aller, he's just so exciting. I want to go one more time, one more run on this player right here. So again, he's sitting here, just does everything he can on this play, right? You're watching him in the pocket right here. Steps up first, comes out here the entire time, keeping his eyes down here. And then when he gets here, throws the ball into the end zone. Nice throw wide because his wide receiver is wide open. Again, that is just right. Step up. Now, granted, you're not always going to avoid that tackle right there, but he does nice little spin move, gets out of the pocket, continues going off over here to the side, and then is able to wide receiver wide open in the end zone to touchdown. Here is the rushing play. So this is what I was trying to wait for. Again, he's got decent speed. I think the long stride, he's able to eat players up. He's not going to run by players. I think that's where the Josh Allen comp comes in because of what he can do with his rushing. He's going to be very, very exciting. And if they use him the right way, I think sky's the ceiling. But let's talk really quick because we're at 19 minutes. I wanted to keep these to about 20, so let's jump into our final preview here, our final talk on them. So as you can see here, I mean, I do think he's easily at least a 2-year starter and could start games in 2022 based on their tough schedule. Penn State has a ridiculous schedule early on in the season. They play Auburn, Michigan, and Ohio State all within the first 6 weeks of the season. That is how hard of a schedule they have up front. Now, Auburn, definitely a team kind of in, whatever you want to call it. They're not necessarily, they may not be a top tier program. Penn State probably is better right now. We'll see what happens. They lose Bo Nix. They brought in a couple guys. Seems like Tank Bigsby is still going to stay there. So maybe Auburn will be better than I expect them to be. But I do think there's still a chance that Penn State loses that game. If Penn State loses that game, then they go to, I believe they get Michigan first. This is horrible job by me because I should have had the schedule pulled up already. So let me pull that up as I discuss this because I want to make sure I get this 100% right. So we're just going to go over their full schedule. They start at Purdue, which they should win. Then they get the Ohio Bobcats, should win. Then in week 3, they get Penn State at Auburn. They're in Auburn. Penn State Penn State. They are Penn State. Penn State gets Auburn in Auburn. That's going to be a tough game, regardless of how good Auburn is or isn't in Auburn. Not an easy place to go in and win. If they lose that game, the next week they get a break and is in playing Central Michigan, which still very good offense, so they could lose. But then they go to the Big House to play Michigan, followed by, man, I'm messing this up. Then they play Penn State at Beaver Stadium. So home game, still it's Ohio State, expecting to be one of, if not the best team in the Big Ten next year. Then they go to Michigan in the Big House. All of that within a 4-week stretch, right? Again, Central Michigan's no slouch. So that is why I think there's a chance we see Allar. Because going into that next game then, October 15th at Illinois, if they do lose those other 3 games, what do they have to lose by putting Drew Allar in at that point? They're not winning the Big Ten. I mean, they still have a chance to make a bowl game. Why not see your quarterback at that point? That is when I'm predicting we see Drew Allar next year. It's nothing against Sean Clifford, but Allar's ceiling is higher. I do think once he gets on the field, he has a chance to be a top 15 quarterback for CFF for the college side of our C2C leagues. And in my opinion, I am not an NFL scout. I don't even consider myself an analyst. I'm just a guy who loves fantasy football, loves college football, and I'm jump on here to give you guys my opinions. I'm an opinionist. I'm not an analyst. I don't get paid to do this if I'm not the great Matt Waldman. I'm not Ray Garvin. I'm not Jared Wackerly. I just do this because I love doing it, and it is what I see. I think unless he falls apart, there's no way he's not a day 1 NFL draft pick. I just don't see how he's not. He's got it all. You can say, and I've brought up the question, who at quarterback has James Franklin really developed? You can't give me a good answer because there's nobody really there. But Mike Yurcich has been a very good offensive mind for a while, and I think it's also fair to say Drew Allar is by far the best prospect they've ever landed. So I think he's going to be a day 1 draft pick. Allar is going to be absolutely special. I really hope we get a chance to see him this season, as in 2022, on the field. He's going to be a lot of fun to watch, and I think, I love Ohio State. Love Ohio State. Drew Allar is so damn good that there's a chance once he is the cemented starter. So probably you're looking at 2023, unless he beats Clifford out this year. 2023. With the group that Penn State has brought in, Penn State might be the favorite to start winning the Big Ten for a couple years. So that is it, guys. Thank you so much again. Check out campus2canton.com. You can find out all of our written content, everything else we've got going on. We've got a Discord channel. We're talking about this stuff all the time, bringing in new people. We're doing all kinds of new stuff. It's going to be a lot of fun. We've got some special stuff coming for you guys this offseason as well. Special projects we're working on. Continue to watch this channel. Subscribe. Rate, or you can't subscribe, rate the podcast. Then subscribe to this YouTube channel. We're going to be bringing a ton of these profiles. We've got rookie profiles coming as well for NFL stuff. And hit the bell icon so you know when all of these go live. We really do appreciate. Throw us a like as well because that helps us out. Thank you guys so much for watching this video. We will be back again soon with another freshman profile.